Alright, let's take a look at Tower of Time 2, the unexpected sequel to my first Let 'em Dari entry. Let 'em Dari entry. The Time Lords are back, and you only have 10 seconds to close each dimension gate to prevent the calamity. Controls AD, jump, restart, open menu. Okay. Music glitches on Chrome. I don't see do I have Firefox installed on this computer? I don't. I have Edge, I guess. Better be appreciative if I'm opening up Edge for you. No, I don't want you to be my default browser. Fuck off. Is that also glitching on here? I guess it's also Chromium based, so it might be the same thing. Sorry if the music glitches and I don't recognize it as a glitch. Alright, sound music. Okay. Let's play it. Okay, so looks like the lighter colored ones are the ones I can actually stand on. The dark colored ones are just the background. I'm just trying to get through these stages in less than 10 seconds. I don't know what that watch did that I just picked up. Did it add more time? I don't know. I feel like I'm too rushed to actually... Okay, there I thought that the darker ones were a platform. So, already I'm confusing your backgrounds with your foregrounds, which I was worried about when I noticed that everything looked the same. Why wasn't the stopwatch on the right side that time? Okay, I'm guessing that this is the faster way, but it's harder. So I'm going to try to see if I can get this down. It looks like I need to use Coyote time to do these jumps, which I don't think is necessarily a good idea. I think Coyote time should be a helping hand, not a required mechanic. Okay, interesting. So maybe that isn't the faster way. What do these stopwatches do? They don't seem to be adding any time. Guess I'll just go straight for the end here. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it though. Okay, this one's pretty tight, and you have to skip over some of the stopwatches. I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong here, but I think the only controls are left, right, and space. So I got it, and it looked like it kind of messed up there for a second. I don't know if it accidentally loaded the wrong level or something. Yeah, I really don't know what these stopwatches do, so I'm kind of just like avoiding them because they're out of the way. I would imagine they would add more time, but I'm looking at the clock and it doesn't seem like it. Maybe it's just adding like 1 second, because it doesn't seem like it's making that big of a difference. Yeah, like there, for instance, I picked it up as the game was ending, so it didn't count, but I did notice that the timer went up by 1 second, which doesn't seem like enough time to make up for having to go out of my way for it. But maybe it is required. I don't know, it's, maybe not all of them are required. Maybe you have to, like, figure out which ones you need in order to make it. Damn it. Damn it. Oof. This is very, very tight timing here. Very difficult game for sure. Ah, damn it. Ugh. My thumb is starting to hurt from the spacebar. Huh. Why is time stopped? Time only moves when you do. Okay. So let's see how I can use that information. Well, first off, I think I was supposed to fall with the falling block, but it didn't happen. Knowing that time only moves when I do doesn't really help, except for it makes it so it's not about going fast, it's about having an optimal path. Falling also takes time, so I want to try to optimize that as well. This one isn't falling for some reason. Interesting. And so, another calamity averted. Thank you, hero. Okay, so I didn't even know that time wasn't moving when I moved until the very final stage, which is a way of saying that your mechanic didn't really matter. The only thing that makes that important is that jumping takes away from your time, because you have to use up the time it takes for you to go up and down. So as long as you don't jump excessively, you should be able to make whatever. Yeah, it makes the game a whole lot easier knowing that, but this level especially, the background being darker than the foreground makes it pretty difficult to tell what you can stand on and what you can't. I'm confused why you have a stopwatch as the icon if it's not actually time. Because it's more like a step counter rather than a time-based thing. And having it be a stopwatch just kind of confuses the player as to what it is that they are allowed to do, I guess. I think it's because you're trying to make it like be a 10-second thing for the theme, but since it's really a step counter, it's not really following the theme. I guess it's not technically a step counter, it's a timer for how long you are moving. Because it doesn't take steps to fall, but it takes time to fall. So I guess I guess the clock kind of makes sense. I don't know. Alright. Let's go ahead and rate this. Overall. So it's a 2D side-scrolling platformer. You have a limited amount of time you can be moving to get to the exit. There are clocks you can collect along the way that add an extra second worth of movement time. And I didn't know that that mechanic existed until the last level. Overall, I think it's kind of just like a generic platformer where you kind of need to take a specific path or else you won't be able to get to the exit. It's not even particularly that you need to be fast. It's just you need to have an optimal route. That minimizes movement time, which can be very interesting. If that mechanic were more apparent as like this is what you're trying to do, as hey, this is a game where you can go as slow as you want, but you have to make sure that you only that you have to take an optimal path that only uses up 10 seconds worth of movement time. Because it doesn't say that anywhere in your description. It says the Time Lords are back and you have 10 seconds to close each gate. So if you had made that more apparent of like you're trying to optimize a path to use up the least amount of movement time, I think you could have made more interesting levels based around that if the player had that knowledge. Because then you could like do things like, oh, I can't go collect that watch because the amount of time it takes me to collect that watch uses more than the second it gives me. And you could like route out in your head the correct way to go to make it to the exit with the correct path. I think that would have been more interesting. Overall, I get a 3.5. Fun it's a difficult platformer, or at least it was difficult when I thought it was timed. When I didn't realize it was timed, it wasn't as difficult. Or when I realized it isn't timed, it wasn't as difficult. Give it 3.5 on fun. Innovation, you're moving, the time only goes down when you're moving, thing could have been very innovative if you had built your levels around it. But since you can do the levels just by like trying to get through as fast as you can, it doesn't, the levels don't play into that mechanic very much. I give it a 3.5 on innovation as well. Theme, it's not really every 10 seconds, it's 10 seconds worth of movement. But you did incorporate 10 seconds in there in some way. I go 4. Graphics. So like I said, I didn't like how you use the same image for your background and your foreground, just like darken it. It made it kind of difficult to tell what you could stand it on at some points. If you're going to do the same image, maybe like offset it by a bit so it's more clear that it's not on the same grid as the movable tiles or something. I don't know. It's correct that you made it darker. It is not correct that you use the same image, I think. Your little player character looked kind of cute. I liked his sprite work. The background I didn't even notice, honestly, but it looks cool when I'm looking at it now. I like the MS Paint style of it. It doesn't really match with your other aesthetics because you got like sprite work on the rest of it and then MS Paint in the background, but I think it works. I think it looks pretty good. I think I like that it doesn't have pixel art background because it doesn't blend in with the foreground. Then they're two completely different art styles which don't mesh with each other. So I think it's good. Good background. Your clock sprite looks very good. Sorry, graphics 4.5. Audio, the music was fine. The sound effects were fine. We go 4. And mood. So I think the mood you're going for is fast-paced platformer. But after I realized that it only takes time when you're moving, it wasn't necessarily fast-paced. It was more of a logical planning out an optimal route. So your mood is kind of different depending on if someone knows how the game works or not. Which is kind of conflicting. I would give it 3 stars. Overall, not a bad platformer. I think you could have used your time-only moves when you're moving mechanic to build more interesting levels. But yeah, not bad. Thank you for making it.